Awake my soul. Be still and know. There is no place I need to go. With open eyes, with open heart, with open mind, I hope to see the God in all, the God in me. I invite you to settle into our time in the shared quiet. The shared stillness, letting your body settle into the support of wherever you are sitting. Feeling yourself held in loving eyes. Held by open hearts. Rejoice, the time of awakening is here. Let the gentle sound of the music and the sound of your own breath and heart beating lead you into the stillness of hearing God's voice within. There is no place we need to go. We are who we've been searching for. With our open hearts and our breath in sync with each other, I invite you to deeply inhale and exhale. And bring your presence fully back into this space. Okay, so the version of me you're going to get now is a little different than the version 5 minutes ago. So thank you. And really that's what it's all about. Right? That's why we're here. We're here to be each other's reminders. So the title of the talk is Seeing the Big Picture. And today's daily word is one of those little reminders. When I first saw the word, I was like, oh, dominion, I'm not sure I like that word. It didn't quite sit. It has some connotations that I wasn't sure I felt really comfortable with. But to pray into that, to deepen into that, to recognize that what is mine, what is available in every moment, is how I respond to what's happening outside of me. What's happening in the bigger world, what's happening in my own world. How am I responding to that? How am I seeing what's happening in the bigger room, which we talked about a few weeks ago, to seeing the bigger picture. Tomorrow's daily word is about divine order. That's one of the ways we settle in to learning how to see the bigger picture. Is stepping out in trust that we are held in divine order. That we may not see the whole picture from our eyes, but that there is a big picture available to us, and how do we get to where we can see that? Even when we may not be able to control events, we can cooperate with divine order, we can cooperate with spirit, and we can choose that love is the answer. It's one of those many things that I say from up here that sounds so simple. Yeah, we just choose love. It's so awesome. It's so simple, people. And of course, it is not always simple. So here is a little bit of wisdom from one of the spiritual practices that has kept me grounded, and that is Phil Goldberg's book. Leading into the chapter that we'll read together this week is actually a quote that was very much like the prayer you shared with us, Dottie. So we'll come back to that. But I loved this passage because I could so relate. Most of the time, we view reality from the ground floor. In fact, sometimes it's as if we're standing on our tiptoes, peeking out the basement windows. I was just right there, visually. Peeking out the basement window, I'm so locked in that small room view. But, he says, if we ascend to higher levels, the vista expands at every landing. The spiritual view is the equivalent of higher ground. When we shift mentally to the big picture, awareness expands, hearts open, and the soul is liberated. Where do you find higher ground in difficult times? Here's one of them. You as a community, as I've walked with you for about 1.5 years now, I think about where I was last March. Where were you last March? How has being a part of this community or another community, if you've recently joined us, how has it helped you reframe the events in your life? Who has been the person who reached out to you to say, I see you. I see you. You are not alone in what you're going through. We help each other reframe what is happening. That's one of the ways then I know for me that I then can shift how I respond. Gratitude. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. When we sing that song here some mornings, I can't even get through it. It makes me cry. As you know, I've had days that I was just, our meditation was me getting it together. Because my gratitude for being here at this moment in my life, in the just right time and place, with all of you in the just right time and place, helps me to lean in to how do I see the bigger picture. This moment in my life helps make a lot of other moments make a lot more sense now. In that clear view of hindsight. Maybe you have had times in your life that are the same. We go through a dark night of the soul. We grieve the loss of a friend. We have a wacky flood in our house and it ends our lives for months on end. Oh wait, that's me. It's getting there. But we have those events that shape us, and we don't always have an awareness of how they are shaping us. That, for me, has always been the gift of having a community, a tribe of people that I know see me for who I am, even when I'm not feeling all shiny and sparkling. They see beyond the surface of whatever I'm going through, and they help me see that God is in me, as I then help reflect that back to them. That's the gift of community. I'd like us to think about as a community on this day when in a little bit we're going to have our annual meeting. It's one of those milestone moments in the life of our church, in the life of our community, where we see the big picture. What has this past year brought us as a community? What are we setting as an intention for our year moving forward? One of the things I love about it, what I inherited from our community, is our core values. When I was first looking at unity as a possibility back in the day, I was so touched when I read these words on your website, on our website. We start with, it's all about love. They're here in the room, but they're also online if you can't see them. We're a spirit-centered community. We warmly welcome all. We embrace diversity. We walk our talk with integrity. We're compassionate. We're joyful. we practice sacred service, and we claim spiritual abundance. Every week, we say together our vision and our mission. This is how we live it out. Who are we as a community? This is who we are. This is who we say we are. Love that is more than affection. It's more than the soft, warm, fuzzy feelings that can accompany a feeling of love. It is putting another's well-being in our sights. It is saying yes to finding love and compassion in all of our actions, even when we are faced with a diversity of thought or a diversity of political expression, a diversity of life experience that feels very foreign to us. We say yes to being loved in all of those situations. And sometimes that means we have to turn those eyes of compassion on ourselves. It's all about love. So how are we doing? How are we doing this year, Unity? I think we're doing pretty well. But I would really like for us to think, sorry, there's a lot of weird sound stuff happening here. I'll stop moving around so much. How do these core values show up in your life? Are you compassionate and self-compassionate? Are you joyful? Hi, come on in, Tina. They show up just like this. Do you recognize with self-compassion if there's one of those that feels a little challenging to you, that there's a growing edge? How does gathering together as a community help support your individual ability to show up, to live into our values? What do you need from me to help you show up? How do I let you know what I need to show up? So how are we doing communally? One of the things that will happen at today's annual meeting is we're going to elect new board members. We have 3 beloveds who have helped me to see the big picture this year, who are stepping away from that sacred service. Heather and Dottie and Sharon. And we will elect 3 new beloveds who will help me to hold the big picture, that will help us to hold the big picture. Being on the board of trustees at Unity is a little bit different than being on the board of a corporation or even another nonprofit. This year with this board has taught me what it means to hold the consciousness of this community. Last year, I had a very beginning understanding of that. Next year when I'm talking to you, I'll have a deeper understanding. But what that has meant for us as a board is that we have committed to supporting each other in our own spiritual practices, even when that has looked messy. Even when sometimes it has looked non-existent. We have brought each other back to that understanding that as a leadership team, if we say our job is about being present, about holding the big picture for us as a community, then how are we doing that? It's a gift and it's a challenge. but mostly it's a gift. And so today you are voting not for people who are going to be really good at helping us finally get through the big to-do list that is in front of us at every board meeting. You are going to be inviting in people whose being will help support us as a community in that give and take and flow of seeing the God in each other, the love that goes back and forth. They will help me hold that space, and they will help us hold that space. What can I do to bring peace and harmony in the world? Spirit is pretty amazing. I have a couple of little quotes about what it is that we're about when we say it's all about love. And of course, Dottie's opening prayer was the perfect entry point for us today. We're not here to make each other into good people. We're not here to make each other never have a fumble or foible in our human experience. We are here to help each other remember that heaven is right here. That God is right here. Whatever you call that ineffable energy and presence, it's right here. We are here to live and breathe and pray and dance and sing love. We're here to walk love. We are simply here to walk with each other. Love is the answer to every question. As you channel the qualities of spirit into your daily life, you will draw to yourself other people who are doing the same. Gradually, you will realize that this process is forming a chain reaction so that one soul at a time, the entire globe is experiencing a spiritual rebirth. Rejoice. The time of awakening is at hand. Amen. Unity of Albany. Amen. Amen.